start on time. It's a question of whether the people who want to go to those events can get there on time, because they've had some difficulty this week with some crowding conditions on MARTA, which is the Metropolitan Rapid Transit Authority here in Atlanta, operating buses and trains. And it's fair to say as well that a lot of downtown Atlanta was closed off, or rerouted, if you will, because of the tremendous crush of the additional population as a result of the Olympic Games. And Centennial Park was designed in part to handle the overflow. Now they've had to close that down. About 12 hours ago, NBC's Kelly O'Donnell and I were at Olympic Stadium here in Atlanta, enjoying track and field and talking about Atlanta's southern hospitality and charm, getting it over the rough spots. Now she's just outside of Grady Memorial Hospital on an entirely different assignment this morning. Kelly, what's going on there?
Good morning, Tom. We have some new information. One of the two people killed is a Turkish national, a middle-aged man who was wearing an Olympic credential, and that indicates that he was officially here to be tied to these games. Now, authorities do not believe he was an athlete, but wearing an Olympic credential means he could have been a journalist, he could have been associated with the Turkish team as a coach or team leader. That is new information that has just come out. He is one of two people killed in this tragedy. At Grady Memorial Hospital, it is a level 1 trauma center, which means it is the most prepared to deal with these kinds of situations. They rehearsed their disaster drill only a few weeks ago, preparing for these games, never knowing they would need to use it. Most of the people who were injured here suffered shrapnel wounds, flying glass and metal. The most serious among them injured by shrapnel that struck them in the chest or abdomen. Several have gone into surgery. 2 are out at this point. 2 more are expected to go in. One of the 2 people who has come out of surgery is in critical condition. Doctors here are optimistic, though, that most are stable. In addition, they are x-raying all of these victims and are looking for additional shrapnel. Some of it has been removed. And so not only is this a place where they are treating victims, but investigating is going on as well. They are looking at the clothing of the people who were injured, looking for clues as to what may have occurred. And they are looking at the metal itself, trying to find out more about this bomb. Tom?
Thanks, Kelly O'Donnell. They have concluded that it is a pipe bomb. That's what we're being told by FBI sources in Washington. There were some erroneous reports earlier that there might have been additional bombs as well. This does seem to be the act of a single person or a small group. No one has claimed responsibility so far. There was a 911 call just about the time of the explosion that is being analyzed. We've been unable to get a completely accurate reading on what occurred on that 911 tape. There was one report that it was a calm voice saying that a bomb was about to go off. There was another report that it came shortly after the explosion itself. And so they have cordoned off a bank of public telephones because, as you know, due to the computerized operation, they can trace those calls back instantaneously. They're dusting for prints. They're interviewing people in that area, trying to find out if they saw anyone who was making a call at that time. We'll still have to wait to see what the FBI has to say about that and what is likely to happen. A reminder then that the FBI is calling this an act of terror, but the Olympic Games will go on nonetheless. The flags will be lowered to half-staff. There will be a moment of silence before each event begins today. There are some 22 sporting events today. 60 medals will be awarded today. The city of Atlanta was prepared for just about everything, but did not want this to happen. Obviously, security had been a big consideration. We've all been talking about it for a long time. Heightened concern after Flight 800 a week ago last Wednesday night. But the games are going forward now. The big question at this hour, what impact will it have on attendance, on workers, and on the athletes themselves? The Dream Team, the most expensive collection of athletes anywhere in the world, in the history of the world, have elected to stay, so far as we know. They're in a hotel overlooking Centennial Park, and they have elected to stay and go on. Earlier this morning at an extraordinary press conference, Francois Carrard from the International Olympic Committee made it clear in no uncertain terms these games would continue.
First of all, the games will go on. I repeat, the games will go on. As I speak now, everything from the operational standpoint is ready. Buses are rolling, the athletes have been notified, and the games today will go on.
That was this morning. Now you're seeing people beginning to assemble in the Atlanta Olympic Stadium, and those people in the green shirts are volunteers or workers for the committee, and they are beginning to appear. The Atlanta Committee for the Olympic Games has asked us to tell everyone in the Atlanta area connected with the Games they need all the workers that they can get today, because this is going to be an exceptional day. It's going to require a lot of patience on the part of everyone, a lot of understanding, and the Atlanta Olympic Committee cannot do this without the volunteers who have been working hand in glove with this committee at the various venues around the city. Track and field will begin pretty shortly here, in fact, at the Olympic Stadium. A lot of events are scheduled for today. Most of them are preliminaries. We've had some finals last night in the shot put. Randy Barnes of the USA won the gold with his final toss. The United States won gold and silver in shot put last night. Now let's go to Frederica Whitfield, who's at Carter Hall overlooking the Atlanta Stadium. Frederica, from that vantage point, can you tell, are people beginning to arrive in pretty considerable numbers for today's events?
Yes, indeed they are. Already, Tom, we're starting to see athletes trickle in to some of the 22 venues where 21 events will be unfolding today. Here at the Olympic Stadium, we're already starting to see a number of the employees trickle in. But, you know, a lot of folks are being warned not to be surprised by the long lines and the more intense searches through their bags because of the intensified security here at the stadium as well as at the other venues. I spoke with a number of the employees here at the Olympic Stadium, and many of them say that they're glad to see that the security will be intensified here. And even though, and despite the explosion early this morning, they feel safe here, and they agree with the IOC that the games must go on.
There are a lot of workers who are in that very building where you are. What was their reaction when you arrived this morning? It's been a pretty joyful place. It's been kind of a party house, if you will, almost a collegiate dormitory environment until early this morning. What was it like when you arrived there today, Frederica?
Well, you know, it is very somber, and people admit to that. They had a lot of fun here. This was a time where so many people of so many nations had gotten together, and people were starting to see Atlanta being rebuilt, a new South that seemed to have a very bright future, even more so as a result of the games. And now people are very afraid that what has happened early this morning will leave some very deep wounds in this city, and they're hoping that this city will be able to recover and that perhaps the rest of the games will be just as victorious as they have been up until this morning.
All right, thanks very much, Frederica Whitfield, this morning, who is at a site overlooking the Olympic Stadium here in Atlanta, where track and field will get underway shortly. A lot of the volunteers have already appeared. The Atlanta Committee for the Olympic Games is asking that all the people who were signed up to work today, please go to the places where you have been assigned. They're going to need your help today more than ever. But of course, it is a personal decision. A reminder to those of you who are just joining us, at 1:25 this morning, there was what appears to be a pipe bomb explosion in Centennial Park, which is the crown jewel of the Olympic reorganization of the city of Atlanta. It happened right after a song from the group called Jack Mack and Heart Attack. Here's what happened. Write down your names real quick. Okay, we're looking now live at Centennial Park. That's the live scene this morning. No crowds there today. It has been completely cordoned off because, in fact, it's a criminal investigation that is going on there. It's not just a matter of security. They've got to determine what happened last night. What kind of an explosive device was it? Who might have been responsible? What more they can learn from it? What we have there this morning is the main festival stage. That's where the rock concert was occurring. The tower in the background, just below the yellow writing there that you can see, the tower in the background is where we believe the bomb was placed in a leather satchel. So that's what happened early this morning, and the big question is, what happens now to the athletes? Last night was a moment of triumph for four young men who are with me at this moment. I think we've got microphones on most of them at this point. Okay, Ron Ladelmeyer is a sound man for NBC. He was at the explosion last night, and he was hurt because Mark Field, his cameraman, and Ron were attempting to take pictures of the suspicious package when the explosion occurred. Ron, you okay this morning?
Yes, sir.
Tell me what happened. What do you remember?
Well, what happened was we just finished a live shot for KMBC in Los Angeles, and we had some problems with some of the crowd control. So the security had, we called them in to give us a hand. After that, we took a break, and as the crowds dispersed, we noted the police officers noticed a bag that was left that we photographed. Mark Field photograph. We just said, let's roll on this because it may be something. Anyway, after that, the security officer came out, and the bomb squad came out, started poking around in it, and they told us they didn't like the looks of it and to start moving people out of the way. They were clearing. They got most of that whole area cleared away, and we decided to get a better vantage point because it still looked kind of interesting. We weren't too concerned about it, but we moved away anyway. And as we were in the process of doing that, our cart there, as you see now.
Ron?
Yes, sir.
We're looking at you down on the ground there.
Yes, sir. That was right after I.
Were you knocked out?
No, sir. I was stunned. It knocked me to my knees, and like I said, I took a piece of steel in the back of my neck and a little divot out of my middle of my back. Rang my bells, as they say, but I was okay.
Any doubt in your mind that that explosion came from that package that you had been videotaping just moments earlier?
Yes, sir. We knew exactly. I could feel what the impact was, and I thought it was interesting because it was sitting there for a while, and
had you noticed it before?
I'm sorry?
Had you noticed that package before?
Oh yeah, we'd been rolling tape on it for a while, and everybody was cleared. The tower, from what I heard from the security officers, the tower was cleared, and most of the grassy area was cleared. We were further away on the main roadway. I talked to one of the police officers. They said we're going to clear it out, but we just want to be very discreet about it and not cause a panic. And that sounded like a good decision to me.
Yep. But you did not see that package before the police officer noticed it, right?
No, because we were busy wrapping up a live shot, and we had some gear. You know, at that time of night, you get a lot of people partying a little too much, so we had to keep an eye on the gear. So whatever was happening was pretty much going on behind my back.
Ron,
and then they brought our attention to it.
Ron, we're very happy that you're well this morning. You were treated and released at what, Georgia Baptist Hospital?
Yes, sir.
And you told your family you're okay?
Yes, sir. I'm doing good.
Back on the job?
I reckon.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Ron Ladle.